Oh, god damn it. So, I was playing Arc Raiders the other night, and I was a few minutes into a night raid solo run when something weird happened. Friendly. Now, if you know anything about anything, a person claiming that they are friendly don't shoot in a game like this, where your job is to loot the hostile overworld of a post-apocalyptic setting, all while the threat of open PvP exists around you, is clearly always a ruse. This person wants me to lower my guard and turn my back for exactly 17 nanoseconds so that they can line up a quick shot and blow my brains out. And then they didn't. And that kept happening. I've been having a lot of fun with Arc Raiders, and chief amongst my initial thoughts, of which there are many, mainly positive, is the one thing I can't get over. How is Arc Raiders so damn friendly? I think there are three main elements that really contribute to the current culture of Arc Raiders, and while these are subject to change over time as the game evolves and the culture adjusts, here at the genesis of the game, the way that looting works is, I think, absolutely foundational to why this game has the tone it has. In a game like DayZ, for example, looting is very similar. There is a large open world with structures and settlements, and inside each are a seemingly random number of predetermined spawn points for loot to generate in. The way that DayZ handles this, though, is that finding anything of value can be a daunting task. More than once, I've basically cleared an entire village of loot spawns and seemingly walked out with even less supplies than I went in with. This means that should I find another player, it really can be worth my while to try and drop them if I have even the slightest hint of an advantage in a perceived fight. After all, literally anything they have could be of value to me, and because of how long it can take to get a stable collection of valuable items, I am also encouraged to engage in the always paradoxical defensive first strike. Nobody wants to lose hours of work just because they didn't shoot first, but if you do shoot first, then maybe you can bag those hours of work in just a few seconds. Arc Raiders seemingly counters this by absolutely filling the map with loot. More than once, I have either dropped solo or with a team, and after picking through just a single building each, someone has made the call of, okay, I'm ready to go. Each round of Arc Raiders lasts maybe 30 minutes total, but players are invited to exfil with their loot at pretty much any time in multiple different ways. You have elevators back to the city, you can catch a train on the underground metro, if you have the right key, you can even pull a Dead by Daylight and get sneaky with it down a freshly unlocked hatch. The significance to this, of course, is that there is no winning a match of Arc Raiders. No one will ever say the sentence, "We won a round of Arc Raiders." Your goal is to scavenge, to collect the loot you need, and then get out alive. For example, in your workshop, you have a chicken companion named Scrappy, and Scrappy will, after each match, present you with a small ensemble of basic loot that he has scrapped together while you were away. Scrappy, just like your collection of workbenches, can be upgraded, and similar to your benches, you'll need very specific items to do this. The first upgrade for Scrappy is a dog collar, meaning that you might head to the surface for the express purpose of searching residential areas for the dog collar. Sure, if you find something else that's nice, that's nice.
Holy shit, a Tempest, what?
But you're mainly looking for that one thing, and if you find it, then you're incentivized to exfil quickly, just in case. Now sure, you could gun down another team of players to try and find your dog collar, but because of the specific and limited use of that individual item, it means that your ability to find a dog collar on even a full trio stacked with loot comes down to the simple flowchart of, did they come in here looking for a dog collar? And if yes, did they find a dog collar? And most of the time, the answer to both questions will be no, so the violence and risk just isn't worth it. Like, look at this. All this violence, and all this guy had was a Night City Run Club hoodie from Project Orochi. Actually, this is totally worth it. Project Orochi and I get along really well because we have the same core ethos. We write love letters to the media we love. I do it with essays, they do it with merch inspired by some of your favorite games, and I'm happy to work with them because I can see my own work reflected in theirs. You like the bright lights of a city that hates you? They do too. You like a dog with a sword? They like a dog with a sword. You got ancestors smiling at you? They got ancestors smiling at them too. I absolutely love the more subtle tone of the designs mixed with some really well done art. They've got a duo of an in-house team and independent artists bringing you human-made art that reimagines and pays homage to some of my favorite media without being overbearing. It all has a very real sense of if you know, and that makes sense because they've got a great community over on their side, always pitching fresh ideas. The coolest part, though, is that right now they have the biggest sale in the history of the company going on. From the 24th to the 28th, you can get up to 40% off on some of the best designs, so if you see something you like, now's the time. But if you're here a little bit late, tell you what, I can still get you 10% off if you use code Thane at checkout. Anyways, like I was saying, there is simply so much loot available in any given match with specific needs for specific individual items that Arc Raiders hits this incredible platonic ideal. There is enough for everybody, and everybody needs something different, which means that starting a fight is often a total waste of resources, as other teams will likely not have what you're looking for, even if you survive the encounter. And honestly enough, I do think there's a certain sense of, clarity, perhaps, that comes with the items you're looking for, because yes, you do have your generic rusted bolts and metal parts, but one of the things I recently went to the surface to find was a toaster, because I needed one more to upgrade my refining bench. And the thing is, once I upgrade that bench, it's upgraded forever. That upgraded bench will, for the entire duration of my time in this game, give me a small, sure, but notably existent advantage. Every time I go to the surface, I will be stronger and more capable for having upgraded that bench. Or having found a toaster. But I mean, am I really willing to kill a man for a toaster? I can just find a toaster next time. Besides, there are bigger threats out here than someone else looking for a toaster. You and your fellow raiders are not alone on the top side. The whole reason we exist in Speranza, underground, is because of the titular Arc, the collective of autonomous killing machines that are both a shoot-on-sight threat to us and very good at it. This is where the game gets its ever-important PvPvE from. These bots are bad news, and they are more than happy to lay you flat if they detect you. And what this means is that no matter who is in the game, other players will rarely, if ever, be the greatest threat to you in the game. Yes, wasps and hornets and burners, oh my, can be dealt with on a personal level with no great challenge to overcome should you be equipped with the correct tools and hands steady to use them, but the larger Arc models require greater commitment. Pinned down in a ruined church by a rocketeer, a friend and I had no choice but to take risky potshots with single-shot rifles, diving into cover for reloads and alternating which doors we emerged from to buy us the single precious seconds we needed to aim and pull the trigger before the rocketeer could get a lock and response, and even then, it wasn't a clean affair. It was a multi-minute long David's vs. Goliath, and even though we won, it was with shaky hands. But big game drops big loot, and we scurried home with well-earned high-value drops. And we did it all without ever having to fight another person. In fact, we were not the only people who came to hide in the church. Another duo found their way to our sanctuary, and even though they slipped away during all the chaos, they did so quietly, and without threats or acts of violence. It would have been all too easy for them to just find some comfortable shadows, wait for us to finish the Rocketeer, and then kill us while we recovered, and then they didn't. You have to remember, there is no winning this game. That's not what this game is about. There will never be a Victor Royale. There will never be a chicken dinner. There will only ever be, did you get the things you needed? I think there is a very real sense of community to this game. Literally, Speranza is the home of you and every other raider you find on the surface, and your role as raider is, among other things, to find the resources that this subterranean refuge requires to keep the lights on. Your character has a home here, and so does everyone else. And I think that ability to ground yourself into this world has a very real effect on a lot of players.
Friendly.
Hey, friendly, let's get going. I'll wait for you down here.
Thanks.
Yeah, I got you. Is it just my handsome nature and boyish charm that dissuades these people from causing me incredible bodily harm? Yes, obviously those things help, but I don't think it's that alone. I have this idea that I like to live by that helps me feel good about the world, especially when things don't seem so good, and it's to remember that most people are mostly good most of the time. And time again, Arc Raiders has acted as this remarkable and unexpected test in support of this ideology. One of the neat things about the tools and resources in this game is that when it comes to healing, you have the option to use your items on yourself or on other players. And if you're used to a more cutthroat experience, you might have just heard me say that you can heal your teammates. No, you can heal other players. You have the ability to heal and shield literally anyone who needs your help, should you be willing to give it. You can even revive people who have been downed even if they're not in your squad, so long as you have a defibrillator in your kit. And this isn't some oversight, this isn't some hidden mechanic, there is a metric in your stats page for how many strangers you've saved. It's just so cool to me that by giving you the option to be kind, the game subtly implies that you should be kind. Helping other people, helping a stranger, is an intended game mechanic. It genuinely feels like this game is some sort of litmus social test experiment wherein my theory of the three mostlies keeps gaining support and evidence for it. If someone has the chance to be friendly, I mostly see people be friendly. If someone has the chance to help, most people will be willing to help. This man shot me in my face, and instead of rushing to finish the job the moment I called out friendly, he offered me a fucking band-aid. This is not normal behavior for an extraction shooter because this is not a normal extraction shooter. There is nothing to win here. And look, this is not to say that PvP doesn't happen or that it can't be fun. PvP is an intended mechanic in the game, and I'm not here to say it shouldn't be. Even as I preach peace, I freely admit I've been known to partake. I think the game needs PvP because the fact that this game has PvP is a huge reason why any kindness found shines so bright. There will always be people that want to play for the thrill of the hunt. There are always going to be people that prefer fighting players to bots. There is always going to be some little rat that sneaks up on you while you're trying to dance a 1v1 with a Lieber during a night raid. Even if some people commit to the totally okay, genuinely intended mechanic of bravely shooting a distracted person in the back, I keep finding people that go against this fearful, vulturous nature. I keep finding people that just want to enjoy a fun game with other people. I keep finding people that are happy to make sure you have a spot on the way to safety with them, which honestly, just that alone is crazy to think about in any extraction game. By the base function of the genre, anyone trying to extract should have great loot, which means trying to extract should be proof of value to be gained from killing you, and yet, I continuously see that air shafts and elevators and metros are safe places where people are just willing to trust you. It's almost like the community by and large has just decided that these are locations not meant for violence, and perhaps that's because trying to exfil doesn't mean a person has great loot. It just means they have great loot for them, and that rarely equates to great loot for me. I have been told by more than a few people during the short time of writing this essay that my experience is somewhat unusual, and I'm not totally sure where to go with that. I will say, it does seem like the more people there are in a team, the higher the cutthroatedness floor for the lobby. Solos feel relatively safe, duos can be a toss-up, and trios get the most vicious, but even then, I have had experiences with a group in night raids where other groups have been friendly. Sure, the odds seem a bit slimmer, but I think that's also just the nature of larger groups being a more complex and unpredictable system. After all, if 2 people get into a gunfight, 50% of participants had to pull the trigger first to initiate, but in 2 groups of 3, only 16% of people had to get twitchy for things to go wrong, and obviously, if you shoot first, I'm still going to shoot second, and with the way that the gunplay seems to work in our graders, shooting first doesn't always seem to give a crazy level of advantage. So, where does our graders go from here? I see 2 paths forward. I think the game either gets more friendly or more cutthroat, and I think it largely depends on what the call from the devs ends up being. As more people complete their workbenches, as more people get scrappy to a full level of operation, as the need to actually loot becomes lesser and the value of high-level gear goes down as people gain the ability to craft it for themselves, getting knocked has less risk, meaning that there is less value to loot, and less risk to losing anything. And the gunplay is pretty fun, so I could see Ark shifting into a sort of player-enforced battle royale. But I think if the devs are diligent, if content for the game keeps coming, if the value to finding specific items stays around, if the common player continues to be incentivized to just be a decent person, well, fighting the bots is also a lot of fun. I could also really see the game ending up with a heavy focus on PvE elements, with a splash of PvP available still, even though most people might focus on the big and bombastic boss fight feeling of engaging high-tier enemies. That's the kind of game that I think I personally could sink dozens of hours into. Only time will tell. But I suspect that I'll be around for a while. One final thank you to Project Orochi for sponsoring the video. Guys, if you like the games I cover, I genuinely think you'll find something you enjoy over there. And, as always, a massive thank you to Jordan, Ivan Thanosi, Daddy Biscuit 22, DeviceMD, T.Log, Ginger Crow, Comet Killer 99, Gonzo, and everyone else on Patreon for making all this possible. There's no way I could be doing this without your support. More videos coming whenever I feel like it. Have a nice time zone.